There is a quiet trap we all fall into from time to time. It doesn't announce itself with drama or thunder. It arrives softly, settling into our thoughts like a whisper in the background. It sounds like, "What will they think of me?" This question, so familiar and seemingly harmless, often becomes the invisible hand that guides so many of our decisions. What we wear, what we say, what we pursue, even what we dream about. It's easy to understand why. As social beings, we are wired for connection. From the moment we are born, we seek the attention, approval, and affection of others. As children, we learn quickly that pleasing others brings rewards, praise, smiles, safety. And so we adapt. We watch closely. We modify. We hide the parts of ourselves that might provoke rejection. We highlight the ones that are more likely to win approval. In small ways, and sometimes big ones, we trade authenticity for acceptance. But at some point, this instinct begins to work against us. What starts as a natural part of human development becomes a kind of inner prison. A life shaped more by fear than desire. A constant scanning of the social horizon for judgment, rather than a quiet turning inward to ask, "What do I want? What feels true? What do I believe?" There are many reasons why we might want to stop worrying so much about what others think. It limits us. It exhausts us. It keeps us from taking the kinds of risks that lead to growth and fulfillment. But today, let's focus on just one reason. A powerful, often overlooked reason. Most people are too busy worrying about themselves to be thinking about you. Let that sink in for a moment. Most people, the same ones whose judgment we fear, whose imagined criticisms shape our behavior, are caught up in the exact same struggle. They're thinking about their own lives, their own choices, their own appearance, their own image, their own anxieties, their own problems. We spend so much time trying to avoid the judgment of others. We rehearse conversations in our heads. We soften our opinions. We stay silent. We say yes when we want to say no. All because we imagine that others are paying close attention to what we do and who we are. But here's the truth. They're not. Not because people are unkind or uncaring, but because they're human, and humans are mostly consumed by their own internal world. Think about the last time you saw someone do something awkward, or wear something unusual, or stumble in a public setting. How long did you actually think about it afterward? Probably not long at all. And if you did, it was likely just a passing thought before you returned to your own life. Now flip the perspective. That moment when you said the wrong thing in a conversation and spent hours or even days replaying it in your head, imagining how others must have seen you, chances are, no one else even remembers. Or if they do, it's as a fleeting moment, not a defining impression. This realization can be incredibly freeing. It means that the stage we think we're performing on isn't real. The audience we imagine is mostly in our heads. The judgment we fear is often a projection of our own inner critic, dressed up as someone else's opinion. Of course, this doesn't mean that people never judge. We all judge. It's part of how we make sense of the world. But those judgments are often superficial, momentary, and forgotten quickly. Rarely do they carry the weight we think they do. And even when people do form opinions about us, does it really matter? Here's another angle to consider. Opinions are reflections, not facts. When someone disapproves of you, they're not revealing some ultimate truth. They're revealing themselves, their values, their insecurities, their conditioning. A person raised to value conformity will likely judge nonconformity. A person uncomfortable with vulnerability might criticize openness. A person who fears change may resist your growth. That doesn't make their opinion valid. It makes it personal. It makes it about them. Imagine if we lived our lives according to every passing opinion of others. We would be like leaves in the wind, tossed around endlessly, never rooted. No consistent self. No steady path. Just a series of reactions. The cost of living this way is not small. We begin to lose touch with who we really are. We stop doing things we love because they might seem weird. We avoid expressing ideas that matter to us because they might be unpopular. We ignore instincts, silence our creativity, delay our dreams. All because we've handed the pen over to someone else to write the story of our lives. But here's the good news. We can take it back. And it starts by remembering that no one is thinking about us nearly as much as we fear. This isn't a call to arrogance or carelessness. It's not about rejecting all feedback or refusing to grow. Quite the opposite. It's about growing into ourselves more fully. It's about giving less weight to imagined judgment and more space to inner truth. It's about understanding that authenticity is not only liberating, but magnetic. People are drawn to those who are comfortable in their own skin, not because they seek approval, but because they don't need it. When we stop worrying what others think, we become more present, more alive. We laugh more freely, we speak more boldly, we try things, even if we might fail. We risk being seen, really seen, and that, paradoxically, is what allows for deeper connection. Consider this. Most of the people you admire are not admired because they fit in. They are admired because they stood out. Because they dared to be different. Because they followed their own voice, even when it went against the grain. Great artists, thinkers, leaders, innovators, none of them were universally approved of. Many were criticized, misunderstood, even ridiculed in their time. But they kept going. Why? Because they understood this simple truth. What others think is none of your business. It's their business, their story, their perception, and you don't have to carry it. You are the only one who will live your life. You are the one who wakes up with your thoughts, sleeps with your conscience, and walks in your shoes. To give that life away for the sake of someone else's fleeting opinion is too high a price. So, the next time you feel the fear of judgment rising, the next time you hold back a truth, or dim your light, or hesitate to step forward, remember this. Most people are not thinking about you. And if they are, it's temporary. And even if it's not your problem. You don't need permission to be who you are. You don't need approval to follow your path. You don't need applause to feel worthy. You are not here to be what others expect. You are here to be what you are. And that is enough. If this message resonated with you, even just a little, consider giving it a like, sharing it with someone who might need to hear it, and subscribing for more quiet reminders like this one. Because sometimes, all it takes is a different perspective to lighten the weight we've been carrying.